to have people who look like us when we're covering sports where there is a large, like baseball, a large Latino population, or in basketball or football where there's large African-American, Black people across the
boxing
diaspora.
too. Boxing is extremely diverse.
Right, to see that. But we don't see that. When we all sat down, Jarod actually asked this question to Bomani and Pablo, and this is what they had to say. Let's take a listen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. Like, one thing about this industry is a problem there. There are plenty of Black men in particular who work in this industry. Oh, yeah, overwhelmingly they were former players. And so basically what you wind up with is an idea that you have those guys come on because they provide a perspective that is very, very particular, but we can just find some white dude to go talk about this other stuff, right? Like, that's what seems to be conveyed, in that message and doing that. But it is necessary just generally to have a broad range of insights on these matters, because all of us in our personal experiences will give us insights that allow us to see things differently than perhaps the next person can. So there are going to be a lot of topics where, in part because of my background, I'll have insight on. But another reason why I've got that insight on those things is because I put in a lot of work to know and understand what those things are, right? So it is not simply to me about the value of having somebody that looks like me or has the experiences there. It's having the insight that is particular to the experiences of those people. It just so happens that you're more likely to have that if you're a member of that group, because in all likelihood, that is what has moved you to pay more attention to the matters that are there. But no, it becomes important to have Black people in these spaces. Otherwise, what we don't want is what the history of sports talk radio has basically been, which is white dudes complaining about Black dudes on the radio, right? Like that's, you listen to who the hosts are, and then it trickles down, and then you listen to who the callers are, and it just becomes this circular thing of the same set of people often hammering this other group of people, and then that brings out the worst very often in the people that are doing it. So no, it's very important to have people who have more in common with the athletes there, because otherwise this could turn into something that we don't want it to be.
And it's also, by the way, crucial to have like credibility in the world of sports. I mean, like Bomani has a long resume that goes beyond sports, but he also like knows sports history as much as any human being that I've ever met. He was a columnist at Page 2 in the era of like, the David Halberstam's, Ralph Wiley's and all of that. I come from Sports Illustrated, where I learned magazines and was a reporter. So for us, I think it's as much about having the credibility on the resume and then synthesizing that through the particular perspectives that we have. And that's why you land on a show that actually is doing stuff that may feel kind of new and different.
And that show he's talking about is obviously High Noon, the show they do together, 4 p.m. You can catch that on ESPN.
I forgot how good that answer was.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I remember when we were sitting in that room when we were talking to them, Bomani's point about radio, sports talk radio, was huge. I thought it was fantastic because it's part of the reason why I no longer listen to sports talk radio. And part of that reason is I felt a lot of that. And a lot of that came around, especially when Colin Kaepernick decided his protest against police injustice and police brutality and social injustice, I saw a lot of that from the same people were calling in. And, I looked at the station that I was listening to and I realized like, hey, why has there never been in all my years of listening to this, we've never seen a minority host in prime time.
I know exactly what station it is. We don't got to call them out.
No, I'm not. You know how I am about some people don't need the attention.
No, we know exactly what
it is. Yeah. But when I used to listen to the station and it's like, it's the same voices, the same messages. And this is the one thing I love about podcasting is I'm able to now get these diverse messages from different people doing different stuff in the different ways we can bring it out and interacting with different people that might get to the forefront. Because I can tell you what, that station we're listening to, they're probably not going to play clips and audio like that or ask people about some of the things that we're talking to. But
definitely not.
Y'all listen to this, y'all know where to come to. Y'all know where to come to. What did y'all make of that, especially in terms of the sports radio and people talking down about certain athletes or just having the platforms, like I said, where minorities can actually speak on certain things that you might not hear in that medium?